Welcome to the Spiritual Corner. I am Nobinguni. Thank you for joining us. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about spiritual language or understanding the language of our ancestors. So, a spiritual language is a form of communication that is used to express knowledge, ideas, and messages. Our ancestors have a unique way that they speak to us, and this language is present in our dreams and in our waking life. Each of us experience a different style of communication with each of our guides. There are two main styles of communication: direct and abstract. Sometimes you can experience a bit of both. Guides that speak in a direct language are more straightforward and direct in the way that they communicate. So these ancestors are pretty much very straightforward in how they show you things in your dreams or in your waking life. They say exactly what they want to say in a very straightforward and direct fashion, right? And then there are guides that are more abstract and tend to use symbols most of the time, and metaphors and other literary devices in the way that they communicate. So now these guides rely heavily on symbols. They like using symbols kakhulu. It may be in the form of color, it may be in the form of any literary device. Everything may make sense, but it may not appear in a direct way. But in as much as it appears in a symbolic and a more abstract way, you still can make sense of it and you still can understand the language, even though it's not super direct. But it takes some getting used to. It takes you studying the language and studying your guides and just studying the patterns and studying how they speak and studying how you receive the language. So a spiritual language is to your spiritual journey what a key is to a map. So a map key explains what the symbols mean on a map and allows you to make sense of the map when you're reading a map. This is exactly the same purpose a spiritual language serves. It's to help you understand and make sense of messages that come from spirit. The best way to learn this language is to study certain patterns in your dreams and paying attention to how you receive information in your waking life or your psychic abilities, right? So in studying the patterns of your dreams, here you pay attention to your dream space, right? This is now how you dream and the contents of your dream, right? Are you a person who dreams in language? Are there people that speak in your dreams, or do you just dream in pictures? You see pictures and you hear sounds, but you don't hear people speaking. So that's also a thing. Some people dream in visuals, so they just see things without anybody talking. Some people hear sounds. Some people hear people speaking, sometimes languages you don't understand. So here you pay attention to your dream space, right? The repetition and recurring themes, recurring elements, and recurring symbols as well. Learn how to understand these recurring aspects of your dream because they do carry a lot of meaning. Try to understand what the symbols in your dreams mean to you and your guides. It's important never to approach your dreams in a very generalized, universal approach in terms of meanings. Yes, there are certain universal and kind of general kind of understanding and meanings to dreams, and like there's general meanings of symbols, but then dreams are also very much personal to you and your ancestors and how they choose to speak to you, right? So the second way to learn your ancestral language is to pay attention to how you receive spiritual information and messages, or your psychic abilities, basically. So the psychic abilities, it's either sight, which is clairvoyance. You retrieve information in terms of visual input and stuff. And then hearing, which is clairaudience. Feeling, which is clairsentience. Thinking, which is claircognizance. When you figure out which senses you receive information through, it becomes easier to know what chakra to tune into in terms of receiving your messages. I think that it's very important to know what dominant psychic ability you have, because it's how spirit chooses to speak to you. If you're a person who receives information using your feelings or your body, right, that's how spirit chooses to speak to you. And once you tune into your dominant psychic abilities, you're allowing spirit a more clearer communication doorway. So it becomes easier for spirit to send messages to you and for you to receive these messages. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please support our channel by subscribing, liking, and commenting.